Greetings and welcome back to the Casual Wargamer. Today we're going to take a look at the Tau Empire preview that came out last week. I have to be honest here, the Tau are one of those armies that I dislike playing against, generally because of two reasons. One, they are an army that is built around shooting. They're not so great in the combat phase. They're just very good at getting around the battlefield quickly and blowing you off the table. But that shooting element, their strength, feels like it's been turned up to 11. It's just slightly too good in places. The weapon strengths are too high, or the ranges on it are too good for a weapon that's basically going to deny you armor saves and so on. Biggest problem has always been marker lights. You drop marker lights on a unit and suddenly, your opponent's going, right, your armor's reduced by 1. I'm getting +1 to hit. You're not getting a cover save and some other random effect. And you sit there and you're going, well, Didn't need to be that way at all. I feel that marker lights have often been a little too good. So going in and reading this preview for the first time last week, I was a little bit surprised by what I saw. Let's take a look and I'll go through it. So the army special rule is for the greater good. And this replaces the old marker light system to a point now where you have a unit that you designate as an observer and a second unit which you designate as the guided. And when you do this, you get certain benefits. Till the end of the phase, each time a model in the guided unit makes an attack that targets their spotted unit, their ballistic skill improves by 1, and the observer has the marker light keyword, which allows you to ignore cover. Each time a guided unit makes an attack that does not target their spotted unit, their ballistic skill drops by 1. So they've kind of done what GW have said they're doing in 10th, which is, can we condense these rules and make them a lot better? This is a thumbs up from me. So one unit sits there and goes here, and another unit shoots them with the benefits. It doesn't feel like it takes anything away from the opposing unit or the opposing player, but you feel like you're getting a benefit out of using it. I think the actual block of text could probably be reworded a little bit, but thumbs up to GW for that one. They've fixed the marker light problem. The detachment rule, which is called Carry On, which is, if I remember correctly, the Tau strategy of luring an opponent into a kill zone, popping up and blasting them to pieces. That's what you get in this one. Assuming you get the Montcar and a couple others in the Codex, it should be interesting. With Carry On, from the third battle round onwards, all ranged weapons equipped by Tau Empire models in your army have sustained hits 1. While a unit is guided, they get sustained hits 2. Great, love it. Lure the enemy in, blast them away. Great. And it doesn't feel overpowered. We get a 1.5 unit preview, which is a bit strange because every other army's had 2 unit previews. First one is a Pathfinder team. I thought they might give us the Fire Warriors, but they didn't. And looking at this, no complaints. The Pathfinder team seems like it did before. It seems quite relatively quicker than normal. 7-inch movement, toughness 3, 4 up save, 1 wound, leadership of 7, and an OC of 1. Reasonable stats for what they represent. There's a typical sort of infantry type, although they do not have battle line. So you're limited to half as many as you would have options for your main battle line troop types. The weapon options are reasonable. They are quite good range for the most part. Ballistic skill hitting on 4s or 5s, depending on what they are. Weapon strength's quite good. Very little in the way of AP unless you're toting a rail rifle where you're getting -4 and 3 damage at 30-inch range. And at last, because the way 10th works, is they have a close combat weapon. Tau with close combat weapon. Shocking. So the weapons seem quite good on this, but then these are not a particularly shooty unit, let's be honest. These are the guys who sit there and do the spotting, which is where we get our ability for the unit, target uploaded. Once per turn, when using the greater good ability, you can select this unit to be an observer, that's the one, observer, not spotter, for a second time. When doing so, you can change which enemy unit this unit is spotting. That's quite good. That's their role. They're not meant to be a shooty army, and they give you a benefit to assist your army. Absolutely lovely jubbly. The war gear options that it provides here: a grav inhibitor drone, so anyone charging you is at -2. A pulse accelerator drone, which adds 6 inches to the range of your pulse carbines, making them 26 inches. Do you really need 26-inch range? But hey-ho. And recon drone. Gains a drone burst cannon and has the infiltrator special rule. Not a complaint there at all. Absolutely nicely balanced. Seems quite good. Where we would have a second unit preview, we instead get a range of drones, because drones are not a unit or a model in their own right anymore, which is fantastic, because that was another grumble of mine. You know, here's my unit of whatever, and here's the 6 drones you've got to kill to get any of them. That was always really, really silly. So now they are a piece of war gear, and they provide the unit with an option. And so you'll have a drone model which will sit with it to remind you what drone you've got with it. And depending on what it is what your unit gets. Guardian drones. Anyone shooting you subtracts 1 from the wound roll. If you have a gun drone, you get an extra gun, twin pulse carbine. A marker drone gives your unit the marker light keyword and allows to act as an observer. Missile drone gives you a muscle pod, and shield drone gives an extra wound to the bearer's wound characteristic. Absolutely brilliant. It's nice to see them done this way, as opposed to being an extra model you've got to pointlessly kill. You know, I'm quite surprised. You know, I mean, I'm liking this preview. We get 2 weapon spotlights, and these are big, nasty guns. We get the Hammerhead Railgun, which is heavy and devastating wounds, and it's exactly what they mentioned it in a previous preview. 72-inch range, 1 shot, ballistic skill 4, 3 if you don't move, strength 20, AP -5, damage D6 +6. This is going to be nasty, which makes me hope that it's appropriately costed. But it is 1 shot, and the odds are in most games people are only going to take 1 Hammerhead anyway. But that's your, I don't want to see that knight. I don't want to see that Land Raider on the table, budgeon, take a chunk of its wounds off. Really good. Speaking of which, the other weapon is the Pulse Blast Cannon that comes on the Storm Surge. And this is cray-cray. Comes in 2 forms, a focused or a dispersed blast shot. Both are heavy. If you're focused, it's 24-inch range, 2 shots, hitting on 4s, 3s if you didn't move, strength 24, wounding knights on 2s, I think, AP -6, 12 damage. That's boom. That's going to hurt, whatever that goes for. The dispersed one is a 48-inch range, 6 shots, hitting on 4s, 3 if you don't move, strength 10, AP -2, 4 damage. That's more for blasting away at elite infantry, Terminators, Marines, or you just don't want that squad sat on that objective anymore. Very, very strong weapons, but it always was on the Storm Surge. But again, I'm expecting this to be extremely points heavy if you're going to take it. And then lastly, we get a stratagem called Combat Embarkation, or as I would call it, running away and chickening off. So in your opponent's charge phase, when they charge one of your infantry units that's within 3 inches of a transport, you can play this for 1 CP and they jump in the transport and run away. Typical Tau, cowardly custards. But the opponent can then choose a new target for their charge if you use this. If you really want to keep that unit alive, then absolutely fine. The restriction that every model in the unit must be within 3 inches of a transport and there be sufficient capacity for the unit to jump on board is, I don't know, might be appropriate, but every model's got to be within 3. So are you really going to be hugging your transports just on the off chance somebody runs at you? No complaints, really. If you really want to waste your CP on that, but hey. And that is the Tau preview. I am actually shocked with this one. As I say, I normally have an issue with how Tau play and how Tau operate, and it seems that Games Workshop have done a great job this time around. We haven't seen everything. We still need to know what the other units will be like, but I like this. This is a big improvement for my money on how the Tau have been in the last few editions. Absolutely thumbs up. Great job, GW. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Let me know what you think about the Tau, whether you agree with me or do you not like this. Why would you not like this? In the meantime, hit a thumbs up, drop me a comment down below, hit the subscribe button, and I'll talk to you in the next vid. Take care, guys. Good gaming.